everyone. Welcome to the Franchise My Business podcast, a podcast by franchisers for franchisers. This show is hosted by Kevin Oldham, and we're going to get to know a bit of his background today and the vision that he has for this podcast. Kevin, how you doing, man?
I am phenomenal. Everybody treating you okay today, Chris?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm excited to dig right in. So let's start out with your story. How'd you get where you are today with Franchise My Business?
Luck, right? Just things happen in life. And something happened when I was running a marketing company back in 2005, 2006. And I was basically lazy trying to hire for a job. And I didn't want to write a job description. So I hopped online somewhere and found a job description that actually sounded like it was written for me. And I wasn't looking for a job. I was like having a lot of fun at my last company, but I went ahead and reached out to them because I was curious. And that company was a company called United Country Real Estate. And they're the largest franchisor of rural and lifestyle real estate offices throughout the United States. And so I took a job there as the director of marketing and really got an opportunity. I didn't really even think about the fact that I was in the franchise space, but got the opportunity to launch a couple of other franchise brands within that organization and really started to understand how cool the franchise business model is. And
well, tell me about the franchise business model. What's cool about it?
It's kind of this feeling like when you're a franchisor and you're at your annual convention and you look out and maybe you're giving a talk, like I used to always give a talk about marketing, and you look out and you see hundreds of people and you realize that those hundreds of people are all rowing in the same direction. Like they have the same mission. They're flying the same brand. The relationships that they establish outside of business are like real. Like it's just such a beautiful business model as it relates to decreasing friction for entrepreneurs, right? And then from a franchisor's perspective, it's like deeply rewarding to build something and see other people fly the flag, like believe in the mission, believe in the thing that you built. You built a business in a box, or as close to a business in a box as you can get, and other people buy it and they use it to create value in their communities. And so I love the impact that operating a franchise system can have on the world, not only on entrepreneurs and helping them get what they want in life, but also on the people that those entrepreneurs serve in their local communities. Like, I just think it's such a beautiful business model for having huge impact with a smaller team.
Having a huge impact with a smaller team, being a part of a bigger vision. And I think there's a lot of exciting elements that will be coming from this podcast. What's your vision for the show?
And I am super excited to, as you know, right? Like we've worked together before, and I am super excited about this podcast because my vision is, first of all, I get a canvas to have conversations with people who are doing really cool things in the franchise industry. I'm a decade and a half deep into the franchise industry. I'm a franchisor myself. And so to be able to sit down and have conversations with people who are killing it in the space, or maybe they're encountering troubles in the space and they're willing to share some of those struggles and things like that that part's going to be awesome. So we're going to have one basically conversation each week with somebody who's in the franchise space. And then I'm going to have another episode that's just kind of a solo episode. And I'm going to talk about obviously franchising, but I also get to layer in my expertise as a digital marketing expert, as a technologist, as somebody who deeply believes in building like a really killer life resume. And I'm going to weave in all those things that I care about into the franchising space and share that with people who care.
Now, I can't help but notice the poster in your background. It says, empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water.
Yep.
What's going on there?
Well, if you could see the whole thing, you'd see it. That's a quote from Bruce Lee. It's been greatly condensed. But I have a couple of martial arts things in here because I don't have anywhere to put them in my home. And I'm a martial artist and studied Taekwondo I will earn my black belt next year and just be celebrating 2 years of being a martial artist here in a couple months. And it's just been this transformational thing that's provided some much needed discipline coming out of a pandemic, let's kind of stop caring about myself and whatnot. And frankly, if it wasn't for martial arts, I probably wouldn't be doing this podcast. It was very transformational to me. And I'll be talking about like discipline and self-improvement and various things that impact us as entrepreneurs, particularly as a franchisor. You're looked at as a leader. I mean, entrepreneurs are coming to you. They're trusting you with their livelihoods, right? And so we have to be what I call noble warriors. We have to be emotionally fit. We have to, take care of ourselves and do all the things so we can bring the best to the people that we serve on a daily basis. And martial arts is a big part of my life now, and I'm super, super thankful for it.
That's exciting. And I'm sure a lot more is going to come out from the discipline and the learning that you've garnered from the experience. As you're saying, when you're the franchisor, you're the leader. Entrepreneurs are looking to you for the answers. And I think capturing a lot of those conversations in this show is going to make a huge impact. So what are going to be some of the main talking points?
And specifically I'm doing this podcast for franchisors. Now, franchisees will get a ton of benefit out of it, but I've never been a franchisee, but I have served as a franchisor. And, I think that there's always, particularly as the companies get bigger, for example, the bigger the company gets, the more that maybe the franchisees don't feel like the franchisors really hear them and are providing what they need and things like that. So I want to talk to the franchisors and show that they're deeply passionate about serving the franchisees on a daily basis. It's just, they're also running a ginormous business and they have a bunch of things going on. And so I want to bring clarity to what really happens at the franchisor level, because I feel like in some systems, they think that maybe the franchisor isn't doing enough for them, right? And that can be further from the truth. Like, I know, having sat in an office with 80 people supporting, 600 franchise locations throughout the world, that everybody who came in there deeply cared and they're doing like their very best. So I think that there's not enough emphasis on the franchisor space and what's happening with those folks. And so I'm excited to bring that to the market so that franchisors can hear from other franchisors, but also franchisees can hear from franchisors and know that they're coming in and leaving it on the field every single day for them.
Do you have any stories from the field as a franchisor or somebody in the space?
I've got tons of stories, man, but I'm going to save those for the solo episodes. But yeah, I mean, we've had some amazing stories. Probably one of my favorite ones. I was in Mexico City. We were just launching United Real Estate. I actually just texted my old CEO about this within the past 30 days. It was hilarious. A memory came up. And my CEO, it was my CTO, my CEO, and I was the chief marketing officer. So the three of us were in Mexico City, and we were just getting ready to launch a new business model, United Real Estate. And we told our master franchisee to not mention the new venture. We're like, yeah, just don't talk about it yet, right? That morning, he comes into my room and he's like, man, I had this dream that our franchisor, who will go unnamed, got up in front of everybody and started talking about United Real Estate. And that's exactly what ended up happening. It was a dumpster fire. And it was hilarious because I was sending text messages to my CTO of like trains wrecking. I'm like, this is terrible. First of all, he didn't speak Spanish, and most everybody in the room spoke Spanish. He didn't know what the introduction was. All of a sudden, he just heard his name and United Real Estate, and he knew he was going to be talking about this thing we were working on, but really weren't ready to start talking about in front of people. And I think the precursor to that was in the car ride over there. There was a billboard, literally, 100 feet up in the sky, on fire, literally on fire, and nobody's doing anything about it. And I'm like, well, in the United States, we'd have like fire trucks there. I'm like, well, here's this billboard on fire. And it was kind of like this precursor to this bad outcome that my boss dreamt about. And it was just this hilarious thing that ended up happening that, war stories, right? And I have no shortage of weird stuff that's happened as being a franchisor. There's a lot of really funny stories. There's some that are kind of sad. And we're going to bring all those to the show because we want people to know what's happening in the industry. I think it's important.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited to be able to hear more of those stories. And I think it's going to help shed light and principles and ongoing value for the listeners of the show. What about where you'd like to see it, in the future? What kind of impact do you hope this show makes? What kind of change do you hope a franchisor can make by being a part of Franchise My Business?
Well, it's no secret that franchising is one of the biggest ways that people get into business, right? And the reason why is because it's, you've got a roadmap that somebody else has proven, and it helps give you some guardrails and feel a little bit better about the journey you're getting ready to embark on. And what I'm excited to share with people is like the formulation of the business idea. Like I remember when we whiteboarded United Real Estate, like figuring out how we're going to build this business model. And then seeing what it's like when it comes to life. Like that's a really cool inflection point in a business. And I want to have a bunch of those conversations because I want to bring awareness to franchising as well. A lot of my entrepreneur friends will think that if you buy a franchise that you're kind of taking the easy road. I'm going to go ahead and say maybe you're taking the really, really smart road. As a guy who started a couple companies from the ground up without a roadmap, there's a lot of wasted time, effort, and all those things. And if through Franchise My Business, we can help more entrepreneurs determine that franchising is correct for them, we can help maybe more entrepreneurs that have a cool business that they've thought about expanding via licensing or franchising, and I can give them a source of encouragement to realize that it can be a really cool opportunity for them and fun and rewarding work. Like if I can be a nucleus through this show of just more people pursuing what it is that they may have thought about before, but weren't really clear as to whether or not that was the direction they wanted to go. Like that's a hell yes for me. Like that's going to be really, really cool to be able to help more people get into entrepreneurship, help them create jobs in their local communities, help them make an impact in their local communities. And then furthermore, helping that entrepreneur who came up with something really, really cool that other people want to buy as a business opportunity. Like there's just so many, when we did like the pros and cons of making investment and creating this brand and everything, the pros were really long and the cons were non-existent, just based on the DNA of myself and the team I work with. Like this is just a hell yes. And so I'm excited to bring all of that to the show.
That's really exciting, man. And I think there's very few things in life that we can create a pro and con list around that are a hell yes right off the bat. And so you almost have a moral obligation to proceed in that case.
Yes. Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head. Like once I got clarity around things, I was like, man, like it literally would be morally irresponsible to not share these stories, the knowledge, and even me being able to have access because I have a decent resume in the franchise space to get some really good guests on. I mean, I'm going to have some really awesome guests that are friends of mine that are killing it in the franchise space. And I can't wait to bring them on so that they can share their stories. And, I just love the opportunity to come in and be a source of strength for folks and give them maybe that little kicker that they needed to, take that next step in their journey. If it's expanding via licensing or franchising, awesome. If it's thinking about investing in a franchise, awesome. If they just came to hear my solo episode and they want to learn around, what we're thinking around digital marketing, what's working right now, what's not, and all those things, awesome, right? Yeah, I'm super excited. Super, super excited.
Well, before we wrap up, what do you want people to do?
I actually have a website. It's kevinoldham.live. And on that website, you'll be able to learn more about me. You'll be able to subscribe through whatever channel you want. And if you're happening to listen on that channel right now, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you're alerted when we drop episodes. Deeply appreciate that. But on kevinoldham.live, if you subscribe to our email list, and we'll email once every 2 weeks, and I guarantee you're going to enjoy the emails because every time we send one out, I get a wave of responses from people. I send out deeply personal things. And they're not all about franchising. Sometimes they're just about business, mindset, philosophy around how to approach your life as an entrepreneur. And I think we all need some of that stuff, right? And so one of my most recent email that went out, for those of you watching on video, you can see I just took the plunge and shaved my head. Like I cut off all my hair. And my last email was deeply personal about, the resistance to doing that and all of those things and the change I'm going through as a dude who's going to go through the second half of life without hair. Right. So if you want to learn about just random cool stuff, and I guarantee it's going to be probably the one email that you do read from beginning to end, go ahead and then subscribe to our email list at kevinoldham.live. Oh, yeah. And if you know the guy who's got kevinoldham.com, please tell him I want to buy it.
Awesome. As somebody who pretty religiously does read your newsletter, I can say that there is always a value add. There is always something to take away, and it's really something to look forward to in your inbox. Thanks for everyone who listened to this episode. If you enjoyed anything from it and you want to go along for the ride with Franchise My Business, please subscribe, leave a review on Apple Podcasts. That's going to make sure that more people can see this, and we'll see you on the next episode.